I know you caught that on camera.
No, it looked way cooler than you think. It did. It looked way cooler. Live with his mic and scared as shit. I'm gonna go.
I know you caught that on camera.
Sound check. Mic coming. Wait, let me grab another beer. Okay. I guess. All right. Welcome to Curve the Border. I'm here with Ad TV. All right. We're shooting episode number 2, and it's just gonna be a reenactment of one of my personal stories. You know, right now we're focusing on stuff that we can attain, and I think my stories of my experiences is something that we can focus on at the beginning of the episode. So we're gonna start off here, and hopefully it'll explode into other people's encounters, other people submitting their encounters where we can go and actually do these reenactments. But I want to show you an example of what we want to do in the future with callers' stories, you know. So right now we're gonna focus on my stories. And we're out here on my ranch. It's near La Moca, and this relates back to where my grandfather actually, if you haven't seen episode one talks about how my grandfather was a ranch hand pretty much, and in another ranch, La Moca, that's near my ranch, maybe like 5 miles away, that's where he encountered a monkey. I don't know if it was a Bigfoot, but I've always thought the way he described it was kind of a Bigfoot or a monkey, but there are primates out in Texas. That's what we confirmed, and that's where we have callers calling in and verifying these things. So I thought I'd bring out another story that happened to me, and this takes place in my ranch. It happened between me, my father, and my sister. We actually come out here every winter and camp out in a ranch. It's called La Moca. We call it Lucky 13, the Trevino ranch, but it's in La Moca. And we're out here right now, and I'm gonna try and tell the story of what happened to us. This was back probably anywhere from November or December. It was actually December. I can't remember the year. It must have been maybe in 2016 or 2015, because I was living in Austin, Texas, and I had come down here to visit my family for the holidays. And usually when I come down here for the holidays, that's where we come out here and spend the night on my ranch. So what happened was, me and my whole family, we came out here. We had tents everywhere. I was standing here, my dad was standing next to me, and my sister was pretty much standing in the camera's perspective that what you're seeing right now. All right, that's the perspective that you're seeing right now, is what my sister was looking at, which is me and my father. In the background, we have a swing set. We have a couple of items that come into play as this story, as I tell this story. You'll understand why these items are out here. And again, this is a reenactment. This is maybe 5 or 6 years ago. My ranch has changed, but it was a cold winter night, and we had the bonfire going like we have right now. It's getting a little toasty actually right now. But what happened was, my sister was standing where you guys have seen. I was here, my dad was next to me. It was probably around 1 in the morning or 2 in the morning. We stayed up late, and we were just talking, hanging out, you know, being real grateful that we have this ranch, and that, you know, we appreciate it, and we come and use it, and we use it so we can come out here and spend more time with the family, and also kind of pass this on to our nephews and nieces, which is my sister's daughters and sons, you know, so they can appreciate the outdoors in our ranch. It's getting really toasty, guys. Sorry if I'm moving out of frame. It feels good, because right now there's kind of like a cold front coming in. Like, it's weird. We came out here, it was hot, and now this cold front's running in, so the heat feels real good. So that night was cold. I remember it was really cold. We had our winter gear on, camo, of course. But we had the fire going because it was cold, and that's what kept us warm that night. So my sister's standing there. She's looking at me and my dad, and we're talking. All of a sudden, my sister pauses and just kind of stares blankly over our shoulders, and she starts pointing like, I'm gonna reenact what she did. She did this. And she kind of stayed stuck, and me and my dad were like, what, Jess? What's going on, Jess? What's going on? So this happened for like a minute or two, and she kept going. Like, she was kind of like stuck with trying to speak, but not being able to speak because she was in shock of what she was seeing. So she's doing this, and me and my dad were like, what, Jess? What? And she finally goes, turn around, turn around. All right, she goes, turn around, turn around. So we turned around. What I saw, I'll never forget. It's like, it's something that just can't be explained. All right. When me and my dad finally turned around, we didn't see what my sister saw, and I'll explain what my sister saw. But what me and my father saw was a series of sequential events of items being knocked down as something ran past it, and it was a sequential order. Now, we put a couple of props up, but what was out here that night was a tiny little basketball, a Fisher Price court, a tricycle, and a chair. And when we turned around, we saw first the basketball court fall down, then the tricycle fall down, then the chair fall down, in a sequential order running that way. So it was basketball court, then it was the tricycle, and then it was the chair. And the final thing we saw, we used to have a fence right here, and the fence was swinging back and forth like something jumped over it, and it hit it as it jumped it, and it was swinging back and forth, wobbling like something big was wobbling back and forth. So that's what me and my father saw. Then we turned around, we're like, what the hell happened? And Jessica, my sister, told us, you won't believe what I just saw. And we're like, what? What did you see? What did you see? All right. She goes, there was a big, dark, refrigerator looking. She goes, the only thing I can describe that was what everybody calls a Bigfoot, but it was black. It was darker than the darkness behind it. That's how dark it was. It like sucked all light into it, where it was darker than the darkness in the woods. She goes, and I can see the silhouette of this object like a refrigerator, and what it was doing, it was actually grabbing on to our slide that's in the background, and it was kind of ducking down and looking at us. And she goes, and I was talking to you guys, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw something moving, like it was just doing this, and then we locked eyes, and it was just black. And she goes, and the swing was like, he was ducking down, and when he got up, he was like 2 feet above the slide. And what he did, he was kind of like, oh my God, you're looking at me? And he went like, what do I do? What do I do? And that's when it decided to run. And as it ran, it knocked down these 3 items that me and my father saw. All right? That's what she goes, it started running, Angel, and it started knocking down each one as it ran, and it finally jumped over the fence. And here's the part that's really, I mean, if you think a Bigfoot in La Moca is hard to believe, here's another layer that adds to this story that is unbelievable. It just disappeared into thin air. Like, it just disappeared. And when me and my father turned around, all we could see was these items being knocked down in sequential order. So she told us this, and I told my dad, all right, Pa, look, is there any wind? There was no wind. He goes, nah. And my dad's not a believer. My dad, like, he'll deny. He goes, nah. He'll try to find some logic to it. Whatever it is, he'll try to find some logic. But this time I was like, no, Dad, look. Is there any wind? He goes, there's no wind. I was like, even if there was wind, why did it knock it down in a sequential order that way? You know, like 1, 2, 3, then the fence. What would make it move? He goes, I don't know. I was like, Dad, you gotta see it from what I'm trying to prove here. Like, am I going crazy? There's no wind. He goes, no, there's no wind. And my sister was like, you guys don't even understand what I just saw. I can't believe it. I can't believe it, Angel. I can't believe what I just saw. And to have my father witness it and finally come to terms with it is something at another level for us, because my dad is a non-believer. And he finally said, no, you're right. Something had to be running in that direction and knocking things down and jumping over the fence. But that's what happened. My sister described it as a big, black, dark object. Its eyes were red for some reason. I don't know. It was like, it was glowing off of the fire's reflection, and they were red. That's what caught her attention initially. The eyes. From when it was doing this, she kind of, and then when it got up, and that's why she knew when this thing was like, oh my God, they saw me. What do I do? And they locked eyes, and that's when it went running. She describes it as a big dark object, size of a refrigerator, really tall, and really fast. It was so fast that me and my dad didn't see it. All we saw was the things being knocked over in a sequential order. But it happened here in the back right there. This is where we're at. This is the exact location. This is where it happened. Another reason I believe her is because 2 weeks prior to this, I put up some hammocks, and it's in a triangle form, and I bought these hooks that I drilled into the trees that are 800 pounds worth of weight that they can capacity. The hammocks were from Amazon. They're 500 pounds capacity. And what I did was, the way I connected the hooks on the trees to the hammock was I bought these little, I don't know what they're called, but they're circles that connect, that I can use to connect the hooks and the hammock ring to each other. And those were 500 pounds worth. That's what's actually holding the hammock ring to the tree hook that I bought. And I made sure I bought them for 500 pounds because I was like, oh, if me and my sisters or me and my nephews and nieces, I bought it for 2 people to be able to lay down and hold up a 5. I mean, we don't weigh more than 500 pounds. That's what I thought. I was like, I think we're pretty safe with 500 pounds. But what happened was, 2 weekends before we came out here, and I had just put them up, and those rings, the 500 pounds, were stretched out. They were stretched out. Like something sat on it that was so heavy, more than 500 pounds, that they stretched them out. And I'll look for them right now and I'll show them to you guys. But for me, something that can stretch out that type of ring had to be really heavy or really trying to jump on it. I got really mad, when I came out here, and I was like, damn it, I just bought these hammocks. I just bought these rings, and these kids, I don't know, I thought there were kids that came out here and they were just really damaging my hammocks. And I got mad and I threw away the rings. I was so mad. Then we came back out here 2 weeks later, and my sister saw that. So I kind of put together, I was like, wow, how long have they been here that they might have seen the new hammocks, and maybe or 1 or 2, I don't know. I'm just assuming here. The way she described this object, it weighed more than 500 pounds. And I'm assuming that maybe that's what laid on the hammock. Because what it was doing, it was just checking us out. It was really just observing us on how we interacted. And it was really curious to what we were doing. It wasn't threatening. It really didn't try to harm us. It was just trying to look at us and see what we were doing. And it wasn't until my sister saw it that it just panicked. Like, it really panicked. Instead of charging us, it panicked. Like, it was like, what? Oh my God, they saw me, and it just ran. It wasn't aggressive. There was nothing aggressive to it. from what my sister described. So I'm thinking they were just real curious. If anything, that's what stretched out my hammocks. But that's my story. That's really what happened out here. And again, it's in La Moca where my grandfather shot that other orangutan-y, humanoid-looking primate. So I brought extra batteries too.